Hey there, gang. Time for another grading video, and we are still working on these Mexican Spider-Man books. Kind of a cult favorite and something you don't see very much. And so if you like comic books, stick around. We're going to have some fun. Hey there, Bubby. Welcome to Shanghai. My name is Duke, and this is a grading video. And we are grading these Mexican Spider-Man books, El Sorprendente Hombre Arana. I have no idea if I'm saying that correctly. I'm probably butchering it. Please do like, share, subscribe, comment, do all the groovy things. Definitely looking for your comments, though, because these books, they're cult favorites for a couple of reasons. And I've mentioned this in the last couple of videos, but in case you missed those, we'll go over it real quick one more time. The Mexican publisher started out reprinting the American Spider-Man books, but when Jerry Conway killed off Gwen Stacy, Gwen was popular in Mexico. They didn't want to kill her off. They got permission to publish new stories with Gwen never having died. So you've got this whole other universe where Gwen and Peter continue their romance and eventually actually do end up getting married, apparently. So, there's that. And a lot of people have called for these books to be printed here in the United States, maybe re-scripted by Jerry Conway. But they're also famous for a couple of other reasons. The artist, the main artist on these books, Jose Luis Duran, was kind of infamous for two things. One, he was just loved Gwen Stacy's butt. And he does a lot of sexy cheesecake poses and a lot of pictures of her butt. And also there's a lot of swipes. We're going to see some swipes in here. And that's what I'm looking for from you in the comments below, because, I don't know everything. If you see something that you definitely know that's swiped from somewhere, leave a comment down below and let me know where that particular drawing comes from. So yeah, once again, like, share, subscribe, comment, do all the groovy things. I guess I've done that big two or three times now in this video, so... Anyway, hey, so let's get right to it. Let's not waste any time. Let us tally and away. Now, Quicksilver did appear in an Amazing Spider-Man issue around 70-something, but this is, I believe, an original Mexican book. He just shows up and starts kicking the crap out of Spider-Man for no apparent or particular reason. Of course, I don't read Spanish, but nothing I could tell. If anything in here looks to you they get swiped, like that looks like it comes from, I don't know, it looks maybe Gene Colan-ish, maybe? I don't know. Some of these faces, that's got a very kind of a Neil Adams-ish look to it. That's kind of the giveaway that some of this stuff is copied or lightboxed, because you can sort of see a lot of different art styles. Like that is just a completely different art style than that. So, but Peter and Pietro are pummeling each other, and for no reason that I can figure. Peter finally gets changed to Spider-Man, and they knock about some more. That's another thing about these Mexican books. They are heavy on the romantic drama between Peter and Gwen, and you get these long action sequences where not a lot really happens. And then you also, the other trope is you get these just side comments from the crowd gathered around. But there you go. So we'll grade this one up. It's not too bad. You got a little bit of a 1/4-inch spine split here at the top. The spine looks fairly decent. You've got some general wear and soiling, dust shadow along here, some folding there, a lot of cracking and color rubbing here on the back. The white is still pretty white, but the inside covers on these Mexican books. For some reasons, they tan up pretty easily, but the paper is among the best we've seen so far as paper quality. So I think I would even be inclined to go with a 5 for this, except for this dust shadow. If it wasn't a white cover and that didn't show up so much, maybe it would be better. But again, you get a lot of wrinkling here with that spine split. I'm torn between a 5 and a 4.5. And I feel like I just better err on the side of caution and go to a 4.5. Now, Gwen, as I recall, doesn't appear in this issue. I've gone through these because, as I noted, I've been adding them to the index for the Grand Comics database. And because they weren't there at all. Which really surprised me, as you know, cult favorites as these are, for them to not be in the database at all. But anyway, this air pirate chick, as far as I can tell, doesn't get a name in here at all. And see, these guys look like a different art style than any of this. So, yeah, I don't really know. Don't really know. And she doesn't really come in until here. A lot of pictures of planes in this one. But it's not Gwen's butt, but it's still butt. And again, this just looks like it's taken from something completely different than the rest of it. A lot of this has actually a Milton Caniff kind of look to it, now that I think about it. Although his head's way too big for his hands and body. But I mean, these panels are just so different than that one. And she ends up dying, as the villains seem to a lot in this series. So there you go. So not as bad on the wear here on the back cover. Front cover's kind of okay. Some soiling. Pretty heavy gouge right here. And this is all pressed in along the top. Heavy spine wear here at the top. So I think that's another one. I'm going to go with a 4 or 5 again. And really, if it was a little cleaner, I could go to a 5. But it's just kind of soiled. It feels grimy. I can't remember if it was in this video or a previous one that I said these books kind of look like they came to Maine from Mexico in the back of a chicken truck. And I'm not trying to be like racist stereotype or anything there, but these books just have a lot of soiling to them. Not even soiling. It's not like they've been dragged through the mud, but they've just got some grime. You know, they've been handled and maybe not stored really well, so that even where they're not, you know, ripped or torn or bent, they just, you know, they don't have great eye appeal. They probably look a lot better on the camera here than they do in person. So, but, and that's, you know, Gwen Butt. This one has been folded, you know, rather it was rolled up and put in somebody's back pocket or what, but that's pretty unsightly. And we got Daredevil, or as he is known in the Mexican books, Diabolico. But anyway, and this paper is more browny than the rest of them. So I don't know who this guy is. These two panels look very similar. Here's Betty Brant. She would cameo quite a bit. There's Matt Murdock. And now Gwen shows up, looking very Parisienne. But and so that guy we saw before looks like he, and this is a trope. A lot of these Mexican books have somebody else dressed up as Spider-Man fighting Spider-Man. We've seen it a few times already. There's some more Diabolico. But well, it kind of doesn't count, but it's not gratuitous. So this one I think is, this one's also going to be a 4 or 5. It's not that bad. We've got some bending and we've got some wear on the ends, but it's mostly this fold and frankly, just the paper quality, the lower paper quality on these. Now here's a nice Gwen. I like that outfit. I mean, not that I would want to wear it. I wouldn't look very good in it, but and this is not Hawkeye. This guy is El Aquero and Mascara. So it's the Masked Archer. So, and this one again, see, we've got the papers kind of browning up. So this is going to get a little lower grade just because for that reason. And see if you can spot any kind of obvious swipes in here, something you know was taken from someplace else. Tell you what, his J. Jonah is very expressive, although it could be copied from somewhere, I don't know, but I don't know why she's dressed up in this kind of flapper Cleopatra thing. And here comes not Hawkeye. Smacked the hell out of him, didn't he? Boom. There you go. That's what that looks like. I think this one, well, we got a 1/2 inch spine split up here at the top. Well, maybe more of a 1/4 inch. And a little bit of a bindery tear down here at the bottom. Dust shadow all along there. A little bit of a, not a spine roll, but a spine bend. I'm going to give that a 4. That one's going to be a 4. And this one is a case, and this happened a lot in this series, where a character looks different on the cover than he or she does, and usually she does on the inside. And when I got out of this issue, when I read through it for the index, and again, I don't read Spanish, so I was just kind of inferring a few things I would punch into Google Translate. But although you have a typical Hydra soldier here, inside, you don't get much of the Hydra organization, and she is called Hydra. Hydra with an I rather than a Y. And I told you before that they did this a lot, where they would start out the story with them writing and drawing the story. So I assume that this is a caricature of the artist, Jose Luis Duran, and this may be a caricature of either the general manager publisher, who was, where's his name here? Director General y Gerente is Mario Santaella. So that could be old Mario. But anyway, here comes Hydra. And again, she's Hydra. There's some Mary Jane. Not Mary Jane, excuse me, Gwen. Gwen, that's the whole point of this, is that Gwen's not dead. Blonde Flash Thompson. And they always color Harry kind of darkish. I don't know why. And Hydra comes and confronts J. Jonah. Again, here's some Gwen and Peter romance with a little bit of a different art style. And we've got but. So, you know, the artist here, when he couldn't fit in a Gwen butt, he wasn't he wasn't above finding his butts where he could. But. She's like totally fighting with her ass, isn't she? Well, that's how most women are. All right, so I was just looking at those cars. And I think she died. Oh, yeah, she dies here at the end. Car crash. They just show her feet. Don't want to show her actually all bloodied and mangled. And now Aunt May, or Latia May, is finally to her silver hair. We saw in some earlier issues in previous videos where they had her as kind of brown-haired. So, this one's a little better than some of the ones we've seen. We've got a little bit of browning here at the top. The back cover isn't too bad. The inside covers are browning. Pages are all right. We got a little bit of a rip right here. And kind of a dust shadow and some blunting here. But still, I think I can get away with calling that one a 5. And so far in all of these, a 5 has been about the best grade we've been able to muster. But even so, the latter ombre aranas that we sold a few weeks ago that went for $80, $100, those were in the 3, 5, 4 range as well. So, okay, this one is, I think, a different artist than the usual. It's just much cruder than everything we've seen up till now. But the other thing is there's less, I think, potential swipes. But you can definitely see that this is almost amateurish. I mean, looking almost like, you know, very crude Golden Age art. This is definitely not Jose Luis Duran. I don't know who it is. That's clearly, I think, swiped from something because it's just so different than everything else. But if I had been a regular reader of Hombre Arana in Mexico as a kid, and I'd got this issue as compared to the normal fare, I'd have been like, ay caramba. So anyway, that's the inside of that. Oh, I'm getting tired. This one I think I'm going to do a 5 as well. We've got some wear up here. It's just a little kind of soily, grimy that I don't feel I can go quite to a 5.5. It's sort of borderline. You know, I probably could. But we do have some, the start of a spine split at the bottom and some wear here on the spine, here especially. So I am going to stick at a 5 for that. 5. All right, this is an interesting issue, in part because this, now it looks like it stars Captain America, and he is colored Caucasian, but and this actually, that looks like a Magneto. That looks like a Neil Adams something taken from somewhere. But anyway, inside, we are predating Isaiah Bradley, is that his name? And even Sam Wilson, and we've got a black Captain America. And the story is that this, and again, I don't read Spanish, I can't stress that enough, but just when I'm able to gather from the bits that I punched into Google Translate and inferring from the pictures, this guy's a professor, and his name is never actually given, but he's some kind of a teacher, and he's got this star pupil who gets involved with some bad guys. You can see here his work starts slacking off, and he's tired in class. And so the teacher in order to inspire him, takes on the guise of Captain America. And the kid ends up hospitalized, but he's going to be okay. And it looks like, he's the mission accomplished. He doffs the costume. But it's this is 1974, 73 or 74, 73, June 15th, 1973. So far predating anything that was done at Marvel with a black Captain America. And I just think the title kind of predicts BLM. Maybe it's, you almost kind of want to call it racist, but maybe it's not. But La Rebelión de los Negros, the Negro Rebellion. But here you can see that Spidey, and that looks like Blade. It's got some Gene Colan look to it. I mean, this looks very Gil Kane. That looks very Gene Colan. So again, I think the artist was borrowing from a lot of sources. But Spider-Man encounters some kind of like Black Panther kind of folks, and then he runs into this Black Cap. And again, we're kind of looking kind of Gene Colan-ish. And I guess the rest of that we've sort of already seen. Boom, boom. But anyway, just kind of neat. But this is a lower grade. You got a lot of, there's a big fold here, again, where it looks like it was, rolled up in somebody's pocket. Got a rip there, about a 1/4 inch. A lot of stressing all in through here. Big folds here and here. A stain on the back, a big old stain of some kind. I can only imagine what that can be. It's kind of chunked up on there as well. And it goes through to that back page, you can see. And we get a piece that's folded up. So I'm gonna end up calling that a 2.5. That's the lowest grade one we have had yet. Everything is ranged mostly within the 3.5-4 range. And now we're back to the regular artist, although this, again, that Nick Fury looks like it comes from somewhere. Is that a Steranko or something else? You tell me. And I think this is supposed to be Gwen, but she's kind of a redhead here. And we get Spidey against some gangsters. That looks familiar. I don't know where it's from. And finally Nick Fury shows up. Nick's kind of looking crudely drawn, I should say. And then I could make heads and tails of this, but like all of a sudden, they come across the guy in a tank who's wearing like full villain regalia with a mask and gloves and a cape. So I don't know who this purple guy is. He never gets named so far as I can tell. Boom, boom. You always get these random crowd scenes, and there's usually one hot chick at least. And Gwen shows up at the end. Patting her belly. Is she pregnant? I don't know. But well, they're lovey-dovey. And a little cameo at the end by Dum Dum Dugan. So this one's much better than that last one, although it's unfortunate it's a white cover, so it's got just kind of a grimy appearance. We've got this overhang here, and this is actually like extra paper. It's not the cover itself torn, it's just like it wasn't cut really well, and so we've got some extra paper there. I think this one we're going to give a 5. We'll give a 5 to that one. It's probably a little more grimy than I would like it to be for a 5, but there's really not a lot of tearing or stressing, so that's what we're going to do. We're going to call it a 5. And we will defy the winning bidder to tell me wrong. So this looks like all clipped in from different places. You tell me where all this comes from. That looks like it's clip art from something else. And that could be actually drawn. I don't know. You tell me where that comes from. Somebody wrote in the back cover, P-O-B-L-O, Pablo. And this is another one, that one issue with the aliens that we saw that was kind of crude. And this one appears to be by that same artist because it is the same kind of crude, heavy line. That's not real good. But it's not very naturalistic at all. And this is one where we've got the assistant mad scientist, and he's going to off the mad scientist and become a monster. So that's the only problem with, if Marvel were going to reprint these books that they authorized that, have Gwen in them after she died in the U.S., there's some issues they just may not want to reprint because the art is kind of crude. An American audience would be like, what in the actual hell are you trying to sell me? So, this one, a lot of spine wear and stressing. Some wear along here. We've got a corner out of the first 5 or 6 pages. And that writing. So I'm going to call that a 4. Now this is kind of interesting. This is the last book in this batch. But we had a Rhino cover earlier. It was either the last video or the video before, earlier in this series. Very similar, although it was a different Rhino pose, a different Spidey pose. And you'll remember Gwen was prostrate like this. There was a child here in the front. So it was a very similar kind of layout, but it is a different cover. It's and of course, but... So let's take a look. And this is looking more like Jose Luis Duran. And Rhino's back. And I told you at the beginning that there weren't many repeats, but obviously I lied. The Rhinos had a couple of shots at Hombre Arana. And there we've got some Robbie Robertson and some Jay Jonah. So there's that for you. But so this one I'm going to call a lot of color wear here and some spine abrasions and wear, some stressing, start of a bottom spine split, heavy wear there at the top of the spine, just some general griminess and wear along the edge, blunting here on that edge. But I don't think there's enough actual damage or anything that I could call it a 4. I think I'm going to go with a 4 or 5 on that. And that is that. That is the last book in that batch. I think we've got enough for one more of these Mexican Spider-Man grading videos. We'll look forward to seeing you then. But until then, goodbye, good luck, and please be good to each other.